If you are a beginner ultralight angler and you fish mostly from the bank, listen careful because it can save you a few years of development. The best way to find fish from the bank, or if you're one of the last few people on earth who have boat but don't have good electronics, the best way to find panfish, we're talking about ultralight fishing, even though this applies to bass and other fishing, but the best way to find panfish is swimbaits. Now, that's not the best way to catch them. Very often you will find them and you're gonna start feeling the taps, and just taps, 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 they can drive you nuts. Then you can switch to a trout magnet or just to a smaller size swim bait, and you can figure what is nipping at the tail and you can catch it. But the best way to find fish is swim bait. Float fishing, I love it to death, but float fishing is sniper work. Twitching a trout magnet without a float or with a float, it's a little faster, but it's still really slow because of the nature. If you want to twitch it. I mean, this twitching motion is just by nature very slow. The best way to find fish is swim bait because you don't need to twitch. You just continuously retrieve, and the paddle tail, which all of these will have, is doing the action for you. You cover a lot of water very fast, and somewhere you're gonna start feeling these little taps, and then you can switch lures and tactics to catch whatever is nipping at the swim bait if it's not big enough to eat the swim bait. Today there are so many ultralight swim baits on the market, and everybody is writing bullshit marketing things for their lures, but I'm gonna make this pretty simple for you when you're considering what to buy to start with ultralight swim bait fishing, because there is just 3 or 4 lures to consider on the market. The best ultralight swim bait on the market for 10 years, or I don't know how many, has been the 2-inch Keitech. If the water is cold and nothing is biting and you're just trying to get a bite, nothing, and I mean nothing, will beat a 2-inch Keitech. I mean, it's the most realistic of all ultralight swim baits on the market, and this lure is so old that I really don't understand so many copycats, and nobody made a copy that is even close to the Keitech. There is no copy outside, and the Chinese have made 1 million of them that is close to the Keitech. Is the Keitech overall the best lure every time? No. For some months of the year, the Keitech can be pretty terrible actually. I just told you the best application for Keitech. Cold water, the little fish are already away from the bank, only bigger fish closer to the bank, and nothing else will be nipping at the tail. You're just trying to find a bite. Nothing will beat Keitech. But right now, spring and early summer, there is a bunch of like 4-inch bluegill there. There is yellow bass and little white bass and just 4-inch black bass, all kinds of little fish. This becomes actually, believe it or not, a pretty bad lure. I'll tell you why. This lure was designed 10 years ago and it was never improved. It tears so easy. Now, maybe this is particularly my problem because I use only Japanese jig heads and the hook is super thin. But this hook will tear through the body like nothing. It will just cut it like knife. The moment a bluegill comes and nips the tail and you pull, you will even feel the bluegill trrrt, but when you pull it out, it's already torn. And then what's the point of using expensive Japanese ultra-realistic lure when in the spring and early summer these fish will hit anything. I mean anything. I will show you some other lures in the next few minutes of the video. I mean, bluegill, I will cut a piece of my shoelace and twitch it on a jig, and I will catch them just as good probably as a trout magnet. I will say this though, I forgot to say, this is the 2-inch Keitech. The reason I never tried this lure was I thought it was a little bit too big for crappie. Let me tell you, 2-inch Keitech, for those of you who like me like small profile, is not too big for crappie. Any crappie, 8-inch crappie will eat this, folks, no problem, all the way deep. Now bluegill is another story. Bluegill is just, I've caught bluegill with this, and you will catch, when crappie fishing, you will catch bluegill with this, but this is called in statistics a false positive. Just because you got some big bluegill that was brave enough to inhale the whole thing, it doesn't mean that this is a good bluegill lure. This is mainly crappie and bass, white bass, black bass, but mainly a crappie lure. But like I said, if you're just trying to find the bluegill bed, then you can use it and they start nipping, and then you switch to something else once you have located the bed and you can start sniping them. I forgot to mention this Keitech that I'm showing you is the Easy Shiner. And these lures, on top of having realistic body profile and swimming realistically, also are infused with octopus, or I forgot, some kind of fish smell. So, oh, this one says shrimp scent. But anyway, they are scented and realistic, and the best thing to use when you're just trying to get a bite. Now, Keitech also makes these things called Swing Impact. In cold water, like if I'm fishing in December, I prefer the Easy Shiner. But if you're fishing in other months of the year, like in the summer for some reason, then the realistic profile becomes almost unimportant. Like, what is the profile of a trout magnet or a Ned rig in bass fishing for that matter? Anything that moves, they will hit. So you can use this then. It also swims really, really well. I mean, these things are so soft. They swim so well. They have the good scent. And actually, the body profile is a little bit thinner than the Keitech, and it's a little bit easier to swallow. I have had actually videos where I was bluegill bed fishing with these guys, and because the body is thinner, you can cut a little bit of the head and you can swim it like a 1.5 inch instead of 2 inch, 1.5 inch ultralight swim bait. Then it becomes deadly. But like I said, in cold water, I prefer the fish profile. The next lure that deserves its own attention, and I have all kind of different colors and use a lot, is the Berkeley Power Bait Power Swimmer 2-inch. Now, we said about the Keitech that is infused with some kind of smell from shrimp or octopus or something. But of everything on the market, if we're talking about the taste of a lure, nothing will beat Berkeley Power Bait. Just opening one of these packs, just open it and smell it. This is my travel pack. I get in one pack. I open all of them and I put two of this color, instead of, because these boxes are really huge. So I get 2 pieces of a color and carry this with me. But just opening the pack and sniffing, just sniff these lures out, you will know what I'm talking about. I mean, these things are just organic. They are made of some organic matter. They smell organic. They smell delicious. They are also so soft. Even when a fish, it's time, I think it's time for me to show you one of these. Wow, iPhone 14 is so bad. It cannot refocus until I stop the video and start the video again. Here is a Berkeley Power Bait on a size 8 Daiwa hook. This thing is a fish catching machine as well. Now, in the coldest months of the year, I would prefer Keitech. But if we're talking about a fish nipping at the tail and tasting the lure, this is probably, I think, in my opinion, even better tasting than a Keitech. I mean, these things are just so delicious. We need like some kind of culinary test here to like a knife and a fork and test all of them and see which one is most delicious. But this one is organic and it has the advantage over all other lures on the market. That's the identity of this lure, that it smells incredible, and even when fish nip it, as long as they didn't get stung by the hook here, by the wire, it tastes good. They will come back and keep coming back until you get them. Like I said, in the coldest month of the year, I prefer the realistic profile of the Keitech Easy Shiner. But anything other than December, January, and February, when they just need, if something is moving and kicking, they will hit it. In those months, this is actually performing better than Keitech, believe it or not, for the simple reason that it doesn't tear as easy and it smells and tastes just as good. This is, of course, mimicking the Keitech Swing Impact, not the Easy Shiner. But yeah, this is just another lure that you need to consider, and frankly, you need a couple packs of these until you're testing. You don't need to test everything from the market, but you need to test Keitech and you need to test this Berkeley swimmer. Now, Berkeley have another swimmer that is just terrible. This is the one that, the other one is stiff, like it doesn't even move. But this is the one here that you need to try. This guy works great for crappie. If the body looks too big for you, don't think about it like that, because look, the profile is the same diameter. So no matter what jig head you have, long or short, it will fit your jig head. Once you tear it with your teeth, you cut the first two sections and you put it on and you keep fishing it. If your jig head is shorter, you can just cut with your teeth, you know, the first 1, 2, 3 sections here. So you can very easy make 1.5 inch lure out of this 2 inch lure. But again, 2 inch is no problem for an 8 inch crappie. And for bluegill, you have no business catching bluegill with these things. If you are using it for bluegill fishing, it will be just to find the bluegill bed. They will start nipping at it, and then you can cast a trout magnet or even float on top of the bed and pick them up that way. This is just finding them if we're talking about bluegill fishing. The next lure that deserves its own attention is the 1 inch Charlie Brewer. Why is this lure special? First, this is the only 1 inch swim bait that I know. Second, it's kind of American, or okay, it's Chinese, but it's one of the oldest. I associate it with an American company. So it's kind of original. It's like the trout magnet. I don't know. To me, it says American, even though I'm pretty like 99% sure they made in China. But I like to support these guys like Trout Magnet and Charlie Brewer, because this is very old product. This product has been around for a long time. The last reason this lure is special, this is the only swim bait that you can use to actually fish for bluegill. This is one, I mean, just look at this. Just look at this. Can this be any more perfect? You can run this through a bluegill bed and you will never miss. It's easy to eat. You don't need to twitch nothing. This is so easy to fish for, and there will be no nipping. I mean, everything will hit this thing. Now, I don't fish this lately, but trust me, if I have bought a bucket full of these, and I have a bucket full of these, And I keep giving these on giveaways just because this inventory is 4 or 5 years old. I bought like, I don't know, 100 packs of them because some of the best fishing of my life, before I had live scope on my boat, 300, I believe, crappie days. 300 crappie in a day without live scope. With these guys, I mean, you get a fish on every cast. They never miss it. The tail, I mean, do I have to tell you, look at this thing. Look at this thing. I mean, you are searching for fish and at the same time catching anything that nips at them. These do great action in the water, and they're fish catching machines. That's why I have so many of them. So let's summarize the video so far. The three lures that I showed you, here is their identity in my mind. The Keitech, most realistic, swims most realistic, but tears too easy. And best application is the coldest months of the year when the water is very clear and you're just trying to get a bite and you don't care about money. The Berkeley swims great, tastes even better, smells and tastes even better than the Keitech. It's completely organic, and it's a little bit more durable than the Keitech. It's not as realistic as the Keitech, so in the coldest months of the year, the Keitech will edge it out, but in all other months, it's probably better to go with the Berkeley. And then the last little buggers, their identity is that this is the only thing that I know that you can swim on top of a bluegill bed and catch bluegill on every cast. People will use stuff like this. This here is Euro tackle, whatever. I don't even know the names of these things. And you will catch bluegill. Listen, I have caught bluegill on a 3-inch hellgrammite with a size 6. I mean, that was a bass rig, and you will catch bluegill. You caught a bluegill on such a big lure, that doesn't mean that that's a good lure to target bluegill. I was catching them with these swing impact Keitechs in one video with pretty good frequency actually, but this is the best lure to target them when you're not gonna miss fish. That's why these three lures are special to me. Everything else on the market, and a lot of them I bought one pack, I fished it out, and I didn't buy anymore. So I don't have here too many representatives of other swim baits, but everything else for me has no identity and just no reason for me to buy it or to grab my interest. Does it mean that they are inferior or they cannot catch fish? Absolutely not. Outside of the coldest months of the year, and I will say for the coldest months of the year, you need a Berkeley or you need a Keitech for those months to take advantage of the scent and the realistic looks. But outside of those months, it's probably more economical to use these guys because they will catch just as many fish, but they are actually more durable. This here is the Euro tackle. I don't know the names of these things. B-Vibe, it's not important for me. This company is really overrated in my opinion. Just regular Chinese rubber, but they got connected with a bunch of YouTubers and all of a sudden their product are something special. I don't see nothing special in flexibility. This is regular Chinese rubber. There is no scent. There is nothing in what is special about this lure. Look how, for the lures I recommended, I can tell you what is special about them. What is special about this lure? You don't know. There is nothing special about it. However, if you pair it with the right jig head, because this rubber is tough, you can tear fish apart. Right now in April and May, do you need to spend money on Keitech? I mean, that would be just stupid to fish Keitech around bluegill or yellow bass when this, well, bluegill not, but yellow bass or crappie, this will catch you just as many fish. The profile is small. I mean, I'm not saying these can be killer baits, and people make videos about them and they catch fish after fish, and I believe them. Just for me, the question is, because there is so many products on the market today, tell me, how does your lure stand out? People, when I tell them about Keitech, they say, well, what about Euro tackle? What about donkey tail? What about this and this? Because everybody today made their own brand, and they are selling their own lure. And I always ask them the same question, not sarcastic, just very simple. I actually ask sometimes the same question when they tell me about some rod that I need to test. Everybody knows what I need to test. I ask them, okay, tell me, what is special about this lure? Tell me something that separates it from the market. I never get a reply after that, even when I ask this about rods. Okay, you're recommending this lure to me. How is this Euro tackle whatever thing with a paddle tail different than this Lanker cities here? How are they different? What is the advantage? Do you have any special design? By the way, this here is Zeman. People will say, what about Zeman? Zeman has the elastic material, rubber, but two things why I don't like a single swim bait from Zeman. First of all, like 99% of Zeman lures, they have terrible design. Just who is the damn designer of Zeman? I want to have a video exchange with that person. I want to talk to him. Every Zeman lure, the first condition to release a lure on the market is to have just some nasty, ugly, terrible design. Why are all of their lures so nasty? I have to say, of all paddle tails on the market, and without exaggeration, there's got to be 1,000 paddle tails on the market. I mean, even if we take this Chinese thing here, this is a no-name Chinese, I don't know. What is the difference between this and the Euro tackle and this Lanker hunt? There's no difference. But of all of the paddle tails on the market, Zeman's paddle tail has to be the ugliest, most worthless design. They have another little one called Frizzy or something. Like all of their lures, they always have nasty, terrible design. These ones I actually fish a lot. I catch a lot of fish with these. This is not a swim bait, but just to make my point here. Just to make my point. What is with these eyes here? I always cut these eyes off with the scissors before I put them on the hook. Who is coming up with the designs of these lures? Why are they always nasty, ugly? That's what I don't like about the Zeman lures. And the other thing is, nowadays, this plastic, which I respect them, they didn't create this plastic. This stretchy thing was invented, I think, in medicine for some other reason. And they were the first to kind of apply it into fishing. But this stretchy material is no longer, it's not the case that you can only find it in Zeman. You can order Chinese lures now made of the stretchy material. So the stretchy material is no longer part of the identity too. So all of these lures, the video is already too long, and some people here I know will get very defensive. By the way, don't get defensive, because I have fished Shimano and Daiwa lures that I can say the same thing. And stupid design, or I mean, there is nothing. Tell me what is special about this. Look at this stupid design. Big body and no tail. This is something Zeman would design. Zeman's lures are huge body and no tail. Before you tell me, well, what about, I know in the comments there will be somebody else. What about that lure? Have you tried that little swim bait? Maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but if you want me to try it, just answer in the questions. Tell me what is special about the lure you're recommending. Tell me, why does it stand out from the pack? Because there's so many on the market. Well, I can't buy all of them. Okay, I'll buy this one, but tell me how it separates. How does it stand out from the pack? So anyway, I'm losing my voice here. These are the 3 ones I recommend. Like I said already. And I told you why I recommend them. All of these, if you want to support your favorite YouTuber, do it. They will catch fish just fine, but they don't have anything special about them to stand out from the pack.